you here in our offices. Go and fix your countries, people. Go fix your countries. You're causing problems for us. We don't have time to be doing up and down, fixing your mess.
Department itself. You speak about an ambassador in Washington or New York. That ambassador belongs to the Department of International Relations.
But here is the thing. Is the system ready to employ such hooligans, such criminals? Are the Indians ready to employ some Zulus from the KZN to enter their spaces? Knowing very well what they've caused.
There's no arrest. Drugs is a global phenomenon. It's a global problem. It's a global issue. It's a crime. It's crime. It doesn't have nationality. But all these townships that I make reference of, just few townships, there's no foreign nationals who stay there, and you can't even try it, my guy.
It's not well here. So how do you respond to South Africans who say, we need the world to know that it's not as rosy as it looks?
Yeah, firstly is that you're correct. And thank you for that point that there's a democratic backslide, not only across the globe, but...
Julius Malema, face to face with the president of South Africa, is firing him left, right, center. Bro, I have never seen any video of such, but hey, I will not watch this alone. That's why I brought it to you. And also, some prominent people in South Africa are actually sharing the impact of what is happening to South Africa right now, economy-wise, and how the rest of Africa is seeing South Africa now, and the future consequences that they may face within this African continent. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. You don't lose anything by liking. Just give the video a thumbs up. Let's go into the videos, watch, come back and talk.
Mr. President, I don't know wittingly or unwittingly, when you were answering the question about our relationship with the USA, not once have you mentioned DERCO or Minister of International Relations. And this is as a result of you having met Elon Musk during the UN General Assembly and knowing very well the views of Elon Musk about South Africa, racist, white supremacist views about South Africa, which led to you meeting him because you thought you were going to clarify those issues. Unrepentant racist became emboldened and then made more bad remarks about South Africa even after meeting you physically. You still saw a need to go outside the diplomatic channels and made a contact with an individual, not using diplomatic relations or mechanism within which we resolve diplomatic disputes at South Africa. Don't you think you individually have emboldened white people to undermine us, and you have single-handedly destroyed the diplomatic relations of South Africa with other countries, and you have destroyed and juniorized the Department of International Relations? Mr. President. And le swantjele tsebo re nto ya go bolela le ditsotsi tja o tshwana le bo Elon Musk go re taletša ka bana ba makgowa. And worse, Elon Musk, you organized a meeting with him or that telephone conversation through his immoral father, politically, economically, and otherwise. A man who has engaged in business in South Africa through illegal means, even when he has admitted to do so. Those are the type of characters you can't speak to. Imagine, Mr. President, had they said Donald Trump called the Guptas during that time. What were you going to say? You are going to say that Guptas are an independent state actor. You are not going to say that. You are going to feel undermined. And that's exactly what you have done. What are you saying about established practices of resolving issues in a diplomatic way and diplomatic channels in South Africa? Do you have a full confidence in the Minister of DERCO and the department itself? You speak about an ambassador in Washington or New York. That ambassador belongs to the Department of International Relations. Instead of talking about international relations, leadership, and the department, you talk about ambassador. But when you talk about DRC, you talk about Minister of Defense is doing 1, 2, 3. You don't say ambassador in DRC is doing 1, 2, 3.
Over time, we are waiting because of people like you. Stop coming here. We don't want you here in our offices. Go and fix your countries, people. Go fix your countries. You're causing problems for us. We don't have time to be doing up and down, fixing your mess. You come in here hijacking properties, they're giving you information to say, come and, why would they send you to come and verify? Why would they send you to come and verify? Let's go. We don't want you in this office. Let's go. We don't.
Go home.
You just told me now that people are sending you to come and verify information. That is illegal. So, yes, let's go. Let's go.
A few years ago, South Africa was the champion for taking Israel to the ICJ, for trying to hold genocide to account. But how can we in intellectual honesty expect to uphold the title of defender of basic human rights when the basic human rights of ordinary Africans are being tested and disputed right here on South African soil? South Africa has long been thought of as a upholder of human rights, of holding the basic dignity and prosperity of humans since 1994. But that image, that global image, is being contested by our climate of xenophobic outrage, Afrophobic outrage by political exploiters and actors. It's giving ordinary South Africans a very bad image on a global scale.
What do you make of the March on March situation on that note?
We've mismanaged migration.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And for me, that picture of the Malawian mass meeting answers everything. South Africans left here running away from the apartheid regime and went to hide in Lesotho, in Botswana, in Swaziland, in all the hinterlands of Southern Africa. On the other side, right, unfortunately, the narrative about Abahambe and what has been mismanaged to a point where people now have an anti-foreigner sentiment that is not useful. Not useful for African integration, not useful for all the things that we want to achieve. By the way, about 20% of our GDP, right, is accounted for by foreigners, by international trade, particularly African trade. The tourism, go and look at the tourism numbers. I don't have them on my fingertips. But I'm sure when you interview Patricia, she will tell you that the majority of our, all these millions that we're talking about of tourists, that we are so proud to say, South Africa, when it had closed its doors, had just under 1 million tourists a year. We've got, I think, some 12 million now. If you look at the entire trajectory from 94 up to now. And 50% of that, and I may be wrong about the number, are tourists from the continent. Right? 20% GDP can easily disappear from our already poor growing economy. Right? It's not something we can take for granted. The Africa Trade Agreement was signed 5 years ago, and at the center of its purpose was to increase inter-Africa trade. That hasn't happened. That inter-Africa trade has not improved. In fact, I think it's still hovering around the same 13-14%. And one of the reasons, and I read a document, I'll try and get you the reference, right? They were analyzing why inter-Africa trade hasn't improved. But one of the reasons was that other countries are skeptical that South Africa was going to flood the African market with its goods. Right? And if you put simply, our manufacturing capacity is 4 or 5 times more than most of countries.
Have you engaged with much and much about what the implications of what they are doing is? Because if you look at what's happening already in the continent, there seems to be a backlash already.
Yeah, we have engaged, as you are aware, through the IMC process with all the stakeholders involved in this protest. And the government made it clear of the implications to the South African constitutional project, the rule of law, that this should be the responsibility of the state alone to enforce the law, but also the economic implications of these diplomatic implications across the continent. And I can say, JJ, that collectively put together, this does impact, it will impact the South African standing, not only economically and so forth, but also our human rights outlook as a country, because internationally we remain the pen holders of the anti-racism, xenophobia and related intolerance because of the Durban conference, if you remember, in 2002, because that was a conference that we remain the pen holder in Geneva on this issue. So it does impact our moral standing as a human
globally,
rights. Globally. And you're correct with regards to the economy. The South African economy, almost most of our semi-processed products goes to the African continent. You name them, whether it's in agriculture, semi-processed food, 50% of it goes to the African continent. The states are there, SARS can provide. 45% of other semi-processed products also outside agriculture goes into the African continent. And now with the opening up on the Africa Free Trade Area, this is a huge platform. It's a huge market, 1.5 billion. The whole world is looking into coming into the African continent because of this. And ourselves can't want now to isolate ourselves from what everyone in the world wants to come into. Not only for that, but also with the critical minerals. We are home to almost 30% of such. And South Africa, as the most industrial part of the continent, should be a leader in this respect and leading the African continent on semi-processed, on manufacturing, on industrialization, which is also an outcome of our G20 meeting, the declaration. All those things should be engaged with the African continent to build on that, to create jobs across the continent, to involve young people, including.
But how are we going to stem the tide?
Yeah, that's it. And that's why we raise it with them. But also to say that we do have a responsibility that there is no country in the continent, and that's what is also emerging with our counterparts, that does not enforce immigration.
The South African public is starting to feel a little gaslit because they're like, you're telling everybody we're this wonderful democracy and everything is fine, and hodi blankant boer, as they say in my community, but actually we're suffering, and this democracy that is great on paper is not working for us, and we want the world to know that all is not well here. So how do you respond to South Africans who say we need the world to know that it's not as rosy as it looks?
Yeah, firstly is that you're correct, and thank you for that point, that there is a democratic backslide, not only across the globe, but also here at home. When you look at some of the parties that are coming up, they are saying we must go back to parliamentary sovereignty. We must do away with politicians. Some of the marches are saying we don't need these politicians. I just wonder how they are going to govern, whether if the groups that are saying they don't need politicians, and they are outside, if they then get elected, will they not become politicians and ministers? I'm just wondering, I just wondered how will they then handle engagements with the public like we are engaging with everyone, various stakeholders, because now they will not be accountable to anyone because they say they don't have to be politicians. They must just be maybe it's bureaucrats or something. I don't know how it's going to work. But the reality of the issue is that indeed there is a public sentiment, particularly because the socio-economic dividends, the service delivery issues are frustrating everyone. That begins to say, maybe we may not want to see this type of democracy. But the point I was raising is that we now have 30 years of a constitution, 32 years of a constitutional democracy. It is now a moment for us to say what has worked in the past 30 years. What hasn't worked, and how do we take this democratic project forward so that everyone benefits from the dividends of our democracy? And I think that is one of the reasons why we've got the national dialogue.
But here is the thing. Is the system ready to employ such hooligans, such criminals? Are the Indians ready to employ some Zulus from the KZN to enter their spaces? Knowing very well what they've caused in the past few months. Are white people, Afrikaners, ready to hire some Zulus from the KZN in their farms? I'll tell you what, no. They are not ready to hire these people. You can't fight something that you don't know. You can't fight the system if you don't know anything about the system. Those with money don't want to hire you guys. They don't want to hire you guys. They want to exploit the black child. Even when they're ready to hire you guys, are you ready to work in farms as a South African? It's an opportunity. If you are non-matriculant, yes, it's an opportunity for you to go and seek a job there and really find a job there and work. But is the system ready to hire some of you guys? You have to stop their shenanigans. Do you think they are ready to hire you guys? No. They will always find a way to maneuver and beat the system. You chased away innocent people. You destroyed families. Girlfriends and boyfriends, husbands and wives. Kids are left with no fathers now in their homes. Kids are now left with no mothers in their homes. Kids who were born here from a South African husband or from a South African wife now have to leave and go to live in Malawi. I mean, tell me if that's not cruelty. Tell me if that's not cruelty, bruh. So inhuman. Where is the spirit of Ubuntu? What happened to Mutukabat? Yes, people must document themselves. People must go and queue in Home Affairs so that the Home Affairs can document and really get to know who are these people. But to chase them like that in this winter, and then in the next few months you expect your luck, you expect things to open up for you. You expect to go and kneel down and really pray to God and say, God, please help me, assist my family. My kids are looking for jobs. I am looking for a job. You really think God will have to come through and really listen to your prayers? After what you have just done to these people, one of your own. Yeah, man. It's sad, Buffett. It's sad what we have just witnessed as the country. You know? It's very sad. All because of 3 people. Jacinta, Nizwe, and Pakel. Because they are being paid to do this thing. To cause chaos and really create chaos within the country. Just so they can eat.
In terms of drugs, I'll speak from a township position. Okay. There's no foreign nationals who comes to townships and bring drugs or sell drugs. There are no foreigners in township that sells drugs. Who are these people in our townships who are selling drugs? It's our brothers and sisters. We know them. We went to school with these people. They are our friends. They are our brothers. They are our wives. They are our husbands. From a township position. So who's bringing these drugs in townships? Do they get them from the trees? No. They even know very well who are these people. They do that. Believe it's political. They do that deliberately to fuel us, to turn against foreign nationals. Yes, there's Nigerians who sell drugs. They buy wherever they buy this thing. They stock wherever they buy this. They do this work for whoever they do this work. It's just criminality. Crime is crime. People must be sent to jail if the laws of this country want to function. But where are our police? I see them every day. They stop at these brothels or whatever establishments. They collect bribes there. Even in townships, the issue of sponsor shops, they stop there every day. To do what? They don't buy. We don't see them buy anything. They protect these people. They stop at the club every night, policemen in uniform, in our cars, but nobody says anything. They don't even take pictures of these people. What are they doing there in clubs, policemen? If they leave the club, there's no arrest. Drugs is a global phenomenon. It's a global problem. It's a global issue. It's a crime. It's crime. It doesn't have nationality. But all these townships that I make reference of, just few townships, there's no foreign nationals who stay there, and you can't even try it, my guy. A foreign national in Soweto, deep Soweto, and start selling drugs. You can't last a week.
Wow.
But our brothers, those who we went to school with, they sell these drugs. Over the weekend, we go have fun and party together from the proceeds of crime. There's drug lords in townships. Well, there's drug lords. It's people we know. Unfortunately, you can't mention their names. You can't speak about such things, especially in such platforms.
So you think the police, the people in charge of things like that needs to, wake up and do something right about this situation?
It's a systematic problem. Even the police themselves are found wanting. They're swallowed and captured by the system. The country allowed criminality to take over the state. They even escort these people who bring drugs here.
Wow.
Just a few weeks here in Rodiport, I think, towards Cosmo City, there was a truck that was stopped. Police were escorting the truck.
So I hear what you say.
The Madlanga Commission, when they talk there by the Madlanga Commission, do they talk about foreign nationals? Do they mention Nigerians there? Do they mention Zimbabweans there? They mention serious people who were born here.
Before the end of this year, I'm creating 1 million jobs for South Africa.
President asked you.
Before the end of this year, we will create more than 1 million jobs, like South African permanent jobs. It's very easy. Remove an illegal foreigner and put a South African. It's very simple.
So I made a video asking this man, does he think like this every day, or he was born like this? Because how can you tell me that this same man say if every South African contribute 1 block and 1 bag of cement, he go build the South African border by land? Only them they go build that. I look am. Now this same man to say if they give him 1 year, he go turn South Africa to the most beautifulest country on earth. I look am. Now in the talk say he won't create 1 million job. They ask him how he go take create the 1 million job. He say he go just come out illegal foreigner, put South African there. Here is the thing, that is not how you create a job. You create a job by encouraging investments or creating a business. These guys don't have the money to create a business. They are not encouraging investors because they are out there looting investors' property and businesses. So after that video, I explained how to create job and all that. Guess what South Africans are saying under the comment section? You are not getting the point. South Africans, come and explain to me what the point is. Because up until now, South African unemployment rate have increased. I thought he's creating 1 million job. If he created 1 million job, I think it should be down. So you guys should come and explain the points for me.
As South Africa becomes more and more isolated, there's going to be a lot of suffering of the poor population, the poor black population in South Africa. And the rest of Africa is going to have no pity. And that is exactly where we are supposed to be. We have been set up for a game of drafts, whilst a very sophisticated game of chess is going on in the background. All the other Africans had to be removed in order for this invasion and takeover to take place. When Nelson Mandela came out of prison, he preached peace, which ensured that there was no further bloodshed, but he did not finish the job. Because as we all know, the colonizer still holds the power, still holds the resources, and the poor are still poor. They're about to get poorer, and the colonizer is about to execute the second half of their agenda. Don't be surprised to find an influx of more of them, and don't be surprised to find that black people will become resigned to poverty and death and all sorts of hardship, and the rest of Africa will do nothing simply because we feel offended by our brother. We have all been accusing South Africa of not practicing Ubuntu, and we may well be guilty of the very same thing as we watch South Africa become fully colonized. And by the time we realize what's been going on, it may well be too late.
Listen, the way Julius Malema is giving it to South African president is mind-blowing. Democracy. This is what they call democracy. Hey, like he's not relenting on anything, just face to face, giving it to him like this. And this is why so many people love Julius Malema, especially outside Africa. And I know definitely within South Africa too, he has a lot of people that follow him. But you know, when it comes to the voting part, because he is for Africans in general, so many South Africans do not really like that, and they think if he becomes president, probably there will be so many Africans that will be trooping into South Africa and all that. So that's basically, but for me, I all the time say that South Africans should not look at that side, because trust me, Africans are not your problems. If an African travels to South Africa and they are committing crime, that's why you have the police, that's why you have the immigration, that's why you have all these security agencies to combat or fight against them, you understand, or arrest them. It is very simple, so that you have a sanitized country. But if these guys are coming around and the police are not doing anything, they are taking bribes, this thing will keep on going. So it is the institutions. And I want South Africans honestly to look at what Julius Malema actually stands for. The real wealth. You people are talking about you want jobs, you want jobs, you want jobs. But the South African economy is not in the hands of the blacks. It is in the hands of the whites. The lands, the mines, all these things are supposed to be owned by South Africans or everyone living within South Africa who is a South African. So that is what Julius Malema is fighting for, you guys. Now the impact of this is huge, and you are not going to see it now, or you are not going to feel it now. But as time progresses, you are going to see it, and it's very bad, or it's going to be very bad. So please, you guys, for me, I'm an African. Yes, you might say, hey, we don't need your opinion and all that, but I'm only saying the truth, and this is the man who is going to fight for you what you are looking for. Thank you so much for watching.